Hello class, my name is Vera James and I'll be taking you through this course, Learning Styles and Stimulations. I trust that it will be an engaging and interesting session for us as we continue. The introductory part of this class is what we're going to be doing today, and it speaks about what learning is. Now we're going to be talking about what is learning, who our learners are, and all of that. And then let me introduce you briefly to the objectives of this lesson, or what we call the learning outcomes. At the end of this session, learners should be able to define learning. Now you should be able to tell us what learning is about, explain briefly the concept of early childhood education, explain the types and domains of learning, describe who a learner is, and describe how learning happens. Now it's important to note that learning, we cannot assume the learning has taken place in a classroom or with children if there is no change in behavior. Now some teachers say, oh, I have taught and I spent 45 minutes of my hours teaching, then I have taught. But that's not true. If there is no observed change in the students or the pupils or the learners, then we can certainly say that learning hasn't taken place. So this is what this week's lesson is going to tell you or expose you to know who a learner is. A learner is someone who basically wants to acquire knowledge, wants to understand, wants to learn, wants to get better, wants to have a change in behavior. And then as far as this, for this course, you are the learners, and when you go into your classrooms as teachers, you become teachers and your students are the learners. However, you also will learn from them. But for the purpose of this training, or for the purpose of this course, Learning Styles and Stimulations, we'll see our students or our pupils as the learners. That's what we'll be doing this week. You have your materials. It has everything you need to know about learning. I'll introduce you to a man called Osoyin. He introduced early childhood education in Nigeria. He's well, according to National Policy on Education, early childhood spans from 0 to 5 years. But over the years, Osoyin and the UNICEF they both share the same thoughts about early childhood. It goes beyond 0 and 5, now 0 and 8 years. So every child from the day of birth to your middle year in primary, you are an early childhood learner. That is, we have the preschool, we have the nursery. Let's start from the crèche. We have the crèche, we have the playgroup, we have reception, some people call that. We have nursery, and then we have lower primary. And by that I mean classes 1, 2, 3. And those are the people that we are going to be dealing with in this course. Like I said before, we'll be talking about the domains of learning. Now, I said something earlier that there must be a change in the child's behavior for you to ascertain that learning has taken place. So we're going to be asking, how do you measure this? It's simple. Basically, the Bloom's taxonomy has taught us 3 domains of learning. We have the cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor. When we say cognitive, in the simplest term, has to do with IQ. You understand, the brain, what the students can, or what the learners know intellectually. Affective majorly speaks about, I wouldn't want to go through all of those things, but affective majorly speaks about emotional disposition of your learner, or really speaks about emotion. That's where you see students who are very friendly, teamwork, and all of that. That's how we talk about, that's what we mean by affective domain. And then the psychomotor has to do with dexterity, how students use their body and coordination. All right. At the end of this session, after going through your materials, you would be able to attempt some questions, and you will find them on the module for this course. You should be able to define learning. We have said that before. You should be able to explain the types of learning. I didn't talk about that, but it's in your material when you talk about structured learning and unstructured. You know, we learn every day. We learn in class, structured. You learn on the streets. Our children learn everywhere, unstructured. So you get to see that as we progress. Then, of course, you should be able to answer what the domains of learning are, describe a learner, and also tell us how learning happens in children. Do have a lovely time as you go on with studying your materials. Thank you.